Hello everyone and welcome back to another video from everyone's favorite Halo YouTuber. I'm Rehab, your favorite Halo YouTuber, and today is officially 1 month since Halo Infinite's multiplayer release. Time has really been flying by now that Halo Infinite is out, but we're just getting started 1 month into the alleged 10-year life cycle of this game. Halo Infinite came out firing with ranked playlists ready to go, team skins ready for purchase so the community can support their favorite teams, and incredible gameplay that was being praised by the community and biggest content creators in the gaming space. But it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Along with the high praise for the gameplay, there has been no lack of criticisms and controversies within Halo Infinite. From XP being tied solely to challenges, to the incredibly slow pace players progress through the battle pass, the customization being tied to specific armor sets, certain armors only accessible within the in-game store, severe lack of playlists, lack of custom game options and functionality, no forge, cheaters and matchmaking, and the temporary shutdown of the official Reddit Halo page for becoming too toxic. While Halo Infinite multiplayer has an incredible base layer, it's obvious that the icing has not yet been put on the cake. Actually, it's more accurate to say that there are plenty of key ingredients that were simply left out, and this game needs some more time in the oven. But with all of Halo Infinite's problems, I would be remiss if I didn't mention how 343 is listening to the community and trying their best to adjust. Originally with the challenge system, you would get XP for completing games. First challenge would start with 1 game, then a couple every 3 games, until finally every 5 games. Players were complaining how they would play tons of games and not make any progress towards the battle pass. 343 first adjusted this by offering players 50 XP per game. This ended up being less total XP for the first 25-ish games per day, so it wasn't great, but it was a start. At least you got your XP up front instead of possibly playing only 4 or 5 games to complete a challenge and not reaping the rewards. Fortunately, 343 took feedback and made another change to the challenge system. You now get much more XP for your first 6 games each day. I believe it's 300 for your first game, 200 for your next 2, and then 100 for the next 3. I find that to be a decent balance and rewards players for playing an hour or so each day. There were other issues with the challenge system at launch, with mode-specific challenges pretty much locking players out of progression. For example, having to play 3 stockpile games, which were only available in the Big Team Battle playlist. Players could spend hours searching in Big Team Battle without ever getting a stockpile match. It was really just the luck of the draw. It seems like 343 has fixed this as well, with many less mode-specific challenges. Although I still get challenges like capturing 10 flags that I quickly use a challenge swap on. As far as the armor and customization goes, we have not seen any progress. The biggest gripes are that the store is pretty overpriced even for free-to-play standards, and a lot of the purchases are only able to be used with certain armor cores, so you might not even be able to use them on your current Spartan. 343 doesn't allow you to mix and match, which is frustrating because if you play training mode against bots, you can clearly see bots mixing and matching the armor cores. So it's definitely possible and seems like a cheap way to scam people out of money, getting you to buy different items to fit different armor cores. Cheaters have also been a huge point of contention since Halo Infinite's release, with tons of clips showing players wall hacking and aim locking and matchmaking. I surprisingly have run into more cheaters in social than ranked, but that was in the limited time Fiesta playlist, and I think they were cheating to finish challenges quickly. The biggest issue with cheaters in Halo Infinite is that you cannot report cheaters in game. 343 asks that you go to a third-party site and submit a ticket, while also attaching as much proof as possible. It's honestly ridiculous. You might as well be asking me to grab a feather and tub of ink and write a 200-word essay on how I know this guy is cheating. Halo Infinite does not have any kernel-level anti-cheat in place, so it seems they are relying on reporting of bad actors and manual review of accounts, which is extremely tedious for a game with this many players. I think they underestimated the determination of cheaters in a free-to-play game. They are working on adding a report feature in-game, which is a start because then at least I'll start to report cheaters I run into. But I really hope they reevaluate the whole "we will not be using a kernel-level anti-cheat." Forge and custom games haven't received any love and won't be anytime soon. Forge is coming with Season 3. which was originally expected 6 months after launch. That was before Season 2 was delayed until June 2022. So Forge may not be out until 9 months after launch, and hopefully not any later than that. Custom games suffer heavily from lack of game modes such as VIP, territories, and infection, the inability to save your settings after spending tons of time changing each little item, and no custom browser allowing random players to find your lobby. The community has to rely on having friends, which, big oof, and using third-party sites to find players. Remember the huge community built in Halo 3? With custom games like Jenga Tower and Trash Compactor that could be shared around with a file share so anyone could download the game? Yeah, there's none of that in Halo Infinite yet. I'm sure it'll come in due time, but we may have a long wait ahead of us. What about the playlists? Well, Halo Infinite multiplayer launched with a severe lack of playlists. This is funny because Halo 5 was under heavy criticism for launching with a lack of playlists. So what did 343 do with Halo Infinite? They gave us even less. Yeah, that's what we wanted. 343 launched the game with 3 separate ranked playlists, but they were basically all the same thing. They just split up the allowable inputs. You had open ranked arena where you can search with a full party and use any input, and then there were 2 solo duo playlists where you could search by yourself or with one other. One playlist where you have to be using controller and one playlist where you have to be using keyboard and mouse. Your social options were Bot Bootcamp, which is matchmaking versus bots, Quick Play, which is the same game types as Ranked but with AR pistol starts and a radar, and Big Team Battle. 343 did come out and state the engine they are working on has UI restrictions for how many playlists they can have listed, which I guess is a valid excuse, but it seems pretty ridiculous. I'm no dev, but as a developer, you know that you need X amount of playlists. So how can that be built into your engine? Like, how can that be overlooked? Anyway, on December 14th, there was the first playlist update, adding Fiesta, Free-for-All Slayer, Tactical Slayer, which is SWAT, and Team Slayer to the social playlists. Just in time for the 1-month review. At the time of recording, I have not yet gotten a chance to hop into these playlists, but I've played them all before in various other games, and it's definitely a positive addition to Halo Infinite's multiplayer. With that being said, we are still far off from all the playlists we expect in a Halo game. We need a ranked free-for-all playlist so the sweaty FFA tryhards aren't constantly smashing players who are just casually trying to avoid random teammates. We need a ranked team slayer, ranked team doubles, ranked team snipers, an infection playlist once that game type gets added, and maybe an action sack playlist once the community has the tools to create wacky game types. Now that we are officially a month in, I think it's safe to say that the honeymoon phase is over for Halo Infinite multiplayer. The first week or so, I was so excited to finally be playing a new Halo game. But now that I've had my time, there are tons of things I think need to be adjusted. I have made individual videos on a lot of these topics if you want to see more in-depth criticisms, but I have problems with things like the rocket launcher seemingly doing more damage to yourself than the other players. Desync causing some rockets to do no damage to players directly on top of a rocket, lack of player collision so teammates walk right through you and block your shots, usually causing both of you to die in ranked play where their friendly fire is on, phasing through enemies sometimes even though it isn't supposed to happen, making melee fights broken as you and the enemy walk through each other and punch the air, the god-awful UI, the ranking system being too easy where everyone and their mom are in Onyx, no champion rank to grind for, so once you're in Onyx you don't have much to play ranked for at all. The list goes on and on. I'm sure all or most of these things are going to get addressed eventually, but I'm just hoping it's sooner rather than later. I am a huge fan of Halo Infinite's gameplay, and I plan on sticking around for a long time. But I just hope that the rest of the community doesn't get bored and leave before these problems are addressed. Because underneath the ugly exterior problems, there is a truly incredible game. And that's my pseudo review of the first month of Halo Infinite's multiplayer. I just wanted to piece together the story of the game so far, talk about the positives and negatives of the game, and things I want to see changed. Let me know if you agree down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like to help push the video out to a wider audience, and subscribe for more Halo content. I upload every single day, so hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on tomorrow's upload. I also stream every day over at twitch.tv/rehabsforquitters if you want to hang out over there. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Later.